You may have heard the term narcissist bandied around, or maybe not. I hadn't heard the word until about 3 years ago when I discovered that my spiritual teacher, Sogyal Rinpoche, had been abusing his close students. Yeah, it was a shock and it completely rocked my world. And that's an understatement. So, what is a narcissist? I think it's really important that everybody knows what a narcissist is and totally avoids them, and in particular does not vote for a narcissist. I first met and recognized a narcissist in my spiritual teacher, and then along came Trump, and I went, yeah, he also ticks all the boxes. And when I go through the characteristics of a narcissist, I'm pretty sure that you will see exactly that. Now, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't give a diagnosis, but I don't think that's important. I think what's important is that every single person can look at somebody and evaluate them in terms of their narcissistic characteristics. Because it is a continuum. We all do have some narcissistic characteristics, right? But it gets to a point where it's extreme, where your relationships with people are completely twisted, basically. And Trump is a really good example of that. So, what are the characteristics of a narcissist? A grandiose sense of self-importance is the main one. They live in a fantasy world that supports their delusions of grandeur is another. They need constant praise and admiration. They have a sense of entitlement. They exploit others without guilt or shame. And they frequently demean, intimidate, bully, and belittle others. That list you can probably go, yeah, right. That's definitely Trump. And it also was definitely Sogyal Rinpoche. And honestly, the whole system of bringing up tulkus, reincarnated lamas, this whole system of taking a 3-year-old and going, oh, you're the incarnation of a great lama, wow, praise be to you, put him on a throne and bring the kid up like there's somebody special. And if that child has got any tendency towards narcissism, then, it's like a breeding ground for narcissists. So be very careful. And also, it's not just Tibetan Buddhist gurus, any guru. What is a great job for a narcissist? A guru. New Age guru, Tibetan Buddhist guru, doesn't matter what kind of guru, great job for a narcissist. All that praise that you get, all that devotion, wonderful. What's an even better job for a narcissist? President of the United States, wow. It's just like perfect for a narcissist. So in those areas, politics, religion, be careful, because narcissists gravitate to those sort of situations. And if we vote them into power or we take them as our guru, there's going to be problems because we'll be manipulated. That's what narcissists do. So let's unpack these points a bit more. This grandiose sense of self-importance. A narcissist really thinks that they are somebody special, and they expect everybody else to recognize that. They like to surround themselves with other people that they also think are special. So Trump likes to rub shoulders with Putin and other strong dictators because he thinks they are really special people and he's one of them. Sogyal Rinpoche used to surround himself with well-respected lamas, like, he'd like to have the Dalai Lama around him because he's got a lot of respect, and so, they pick up some kudos from rubbing shoulders with important people. Yeah. So they want to associate with high status people. They believe that they're better than other people, even if they've done absolutely nothing to earn it. So they boast about what they've done. In terms of their work, they will always talk about what they have added to the work environment. They will always talk about their achievements. Wow, I'm just so special. I'm just so good. That's a narcissist. They live in a fantasy world that supports their delusions of grandeur. So a narcissist is not special, but he thinks he is, or she thinks that she is. So they have to create this fantasy world that supports their delusion. Their fantasy world is propped up by distortion, magical thinking, and self-deception. Anything that conflicts with this view of reality, they will simply ignore, deny, become defensive against. They will even become enraged. Those around them learn to tread very carefully because they don't want to meet the rage of a narcissist. And we saw that really clearly in Rigpa, where you could see his attendants being, really nervous around him. And, Trump, well, he just fired anybody who didn't support his delusions. So this fantasy world in Trump, you can see it. He didn't lose the election. He couldn't conceive that he might have lost the election. From his point of view, it was impossible. So he constructed this whole lie that the election was stolen from him. There's no evidence at all to indicate that that's the case. A bunch of people who run the votes got together and wrote a letter saying this was the most secure election in American history, and Trump still tells people that he won an election he didn't win. And unfortunately, because he's a cult leader and all the dynamics of a cult are in play with Trump's supporters, they believe him. Just in the same way that in a spiritual group, their cult members will believe whatever their cult leader says. They need constant praise and admiration. That's obvious in a religious situation where devotion is, part of the deal. Then they expect that. They need it to fill their sense of self. Without adoration, they kind of crumble. They surround themselves with people who will give this adoration. Their relationships are very one-sided. You're only useful to a narcissist if you can give them that kind of adoration, and if you can attend to their needs, fulfill all their needs. They're not remotely interested in your needs. They can't even conceive that you have needs. And if you aren't fulfilling their needs, then you're of completely no use to them. And this is a sense of entitlement as well. They just expect to get everything that they want, and they expect other people to give it to them. This is just how it should be to them. So if you're not playing their game, no, you're out. They exploit people without guilt or shame because they have no empathy. They can't consider the needs of other people. Other people are just there to serve their needs. And if you don't do that, then you will be manipulated into doing it. A narcissist doesn't think about how their behaviour affects others, and if you point it out, they still won't get it. So Trump can lie about the election results without any thought of the effect that it has on his followers. All he would see is that it makes them more Trump, Trump, Trump. So he's getting more adoration. So that's great for him. He fires them up towards violence, which ended up with them storming the Capitol building. Sogyal Rinpoche would hit people, he would verbally abuse people, sexually assault women without any sense of that this might not be the best thing for them. And this is in a religion where compassion is supposed to be, a big part of the practice. But a narcissist simply cannot see what effect he's having on other people. And of course, in a Buddhist situation, then there's this crazy wisdom master idea, which the gurus can use as their excuse for abuse. A narcissist can frequently demean, intimidate, bully, or belittle others. If you don't do what they want, you will be put down in a very condescending, disdainful way. And if you have something that they don't have, they'll do the same thing. They'll put out a tweet, a really nasty tweet about you. Sogyal Rinpoche would abuse you verbally in front of all the people who were there for a teaching. And they will indicate that you mean nothing to them, because that's the way they keep building themselves up. If anybody threatens their sense of superiority. So that's it. That's basically the characteristics of a narcissist. Narcissists are dangerous people. Why? Because they don't respect experts. They think they know better than everybody. So if Donald Trump's scientific advisors tell him something and he thinks that bleach could be useful, then somebody will tell everybody, because he knows better than everybody. So they don't take experts' advice. They act without consulting other people's opinions. Same kind of thing. They just do completely what they want, regardless of the effect it might have on other people, regardless of whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. If you someone in power, that's really dangerous. And they'll put people's lives in danger if it meets their needs. They also love drama. So if everything's going along nice and smoothly, they're uncomfortable. So they'll create drama. Donald Trump was a good example of that. And they have low empathy. Okay, so they really don't care about people. It's as simple as that. They just do not care. They'll tell you they care, but that's only to get your adulation. So, narcissists are dangerous people. Don't fall for them. They only bring pain. And unfortunately, narcissists can't see that there's any problem with them and they can't change. You need to avoid falling under the sway of a narcissistic guru. You need to avoid voting for a narcissist. And I think you only need to look at the damage Trump has done to America to see the damage. And if you're someone who looks at what Trump's done for America and you can't see the damage, then you have been manipulated by a narcissist. That's a hard thing to accept. I had to accept it. I was manipulated by a narcissist. I'm lucky in that I wasn't abused physically, emotionally, or sexually, but I was spiritually abused because it was all a lie. It was all a fantasy. He wasn't who he said he was. Just like Trump, he's not a fine specimen of an American man. If you are dating, check. Make sure you don't fall for a narcissist, because they can be really, really charming. They can make you feel really, really special. But as soon as you're of no use to them, they'll be really nasty to you. That's how they are. So, I hope you found that educational. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. Bye.